ways, O Lord. Teach me thy path. Lead me in the truth and teach me. For thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. Yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Amen.
Oh! Hey, yo, the sun never shines here. Man, it's dark all the time here. No law, justice is blind here. It's just criminals and crime here. Evil prevails here.
I say, wow, what's happening? What's happening? Hey, look here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of ManPower. I'm your host, Dr. Sausage, and I'm very excited about today's show. Today's show is entitled, Your Father Gave You Life, okay? And I like to put historical facts on things, all right? So we're going to start it from the beginning like I always do. The Father Jehovah gave life, okay? He gave life to Adam. Men breathe life into ladies, all right? So we must understand, men, that the children belong to us. They all originate between our legs. All life originates between the male legs, okay? We cannot lose focus. We cannot lose sight of that and continue to allow our seed to wither on the vine by leaving us when a relationship fails, or for whatever reason they try to justify us parting with our children. No more of this foolishness, all right? We got to stand up. Listen, excuse me. The reason I'm doing this show, all right, is because there has to be a record, all right? I think about Noah when the Father Jehovah told him to build the ark. If Noah would have been disobedient, what happened to the people outside of the ark would have happened to him. So when my Father gave me this mission and put this on my heart, you understand, I understood that this was a task for me to grab and run forward with. Now, they made fun of Noah. They would laugh at him and ask him, why you building a boat? It ain't rained in hundreds of years. There's no water nowhere. They would come and make large gatherings around watching him and his sons work and sit there and ridicule them all day long. You understand? So I imagine when it was time to close that boat up, when the Father Jehovah sealed that boat up, that Noah had no problem with ignoring them while they was beating and pounding on the ship. Even though man tried to put the spin on it and make you think that Noah felt sorry for them while he was listening to them. Think about it. They ridiculed him and laughed at him for as long as it took for him to make that ship. Okay? We've all been ridiculed, right? Or made fun of when we're trying to stand for the right thing. If you are an individual who end up being a leader and you stand for something, and you stand for things as a child, you will find yourself as a young adult the center of people's ire. I remember growing up in the St. Bernard housing project, football was my sport. Baseball was really my sport. And we would play basketball in the gym. And the fellas got wind of it that I was a senior in high school and I was going to graduate. I was, getting ready to graduate. And I was one of the least people that they expected was going to school because I kept my mouth shut, and I went to school uptown. And I remember them making jokes about me in the gym. And at the time, I had really turned my life around. And I knew I couldn't get in no trouble because I had to make it out the project. And I knew that this was them trying to, pull me into doing something bad, getting upset with somebody, living up to my old reputation, and then getting trapped back down the project. So I had to be quiet, you dig? And in this particular instance, we playing basketball, and I get a steal with a breakaway moving the other way with the ball. Nobody else is chasing me. And a guy, I'm not going to say his name, all right, he yells out as I'm going up with the 2 steps for the layup. He yells out, "Go on, get your education, boy." And I missed the layup. Wide open layup by myself. You understand me? Dude trailing, got the rebound, brought it back down. They scored. The whole gym falling out laughing. You understand me? But fast forward that story another 5-6 years, I'm walking through Walmart. Now, he's supposed to be going to go to college in this big-time basketball star. He a stalker at Walmart. I seen him. I yelled out to him. I was happy to see him because, you know, I don't hold those type of things against anybody. And I had a wonderful visit with him down memory lane, and we had a wonderful time. It was good to see somebody from my childhood, and I moved on, you know. So that's the same way Noah had to listen and move on. That's the same way I have to listen, and I have to do this job, okay? And this job is standing up for fathers' rights, okay? This is the great injustice of our time. If we are good enough, and I can't say this enough, if we are good enough to go out and fight and die for our country, if we are good enough to build a society, we are surely good enough to be the fathers to our sons, and not just in an ATM machine fashion, but have actual custody of our sons, okay? My purpose for doing this is to continue to build up an account, continue to speak about this, because like I always say, I might be dead and gone before this issue finally does get the attention that it deserves, okay? And if so, listen, they look at Kevin Samuels and the way he was talking to females, and now he's heralded as the Godfather, okay? If Noah wouldn't have done what he done, he would, like I said, he would have been the dude on outside the boat, beating on the boat to get in the boat, okay? So, to all my young men, all my young ladies who hear me, young ladies, please don't have a male child for a young man and then let him walk away scot-free talking about he gonna give you some money. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not gonna give me no money. What you're gonna give me is your time by taking your son. Okay? And we cannot lose sight of that. Look, the Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father. You know what I'm saying? And all thy days upon the earth, you know, will be long. You know, you have blessing. So, you know, if you dishonor your mother or your father, you know that your days will be short. Okay? So we live in a society today that is promoting young men to disrespect their father, have no value for the father when they're going to be fathers themselves. And as men, we have to stand up and recognize the ridiculousness of this and say, hold up. It's time for us to step up to the plate. We are taking responsibility for our sons. We have to be so serious behind this situation until I want us to come together and decide that we're going to boycott. We're not going to work in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Okay, I'm talking about men that's politicians. We're not going to work. I'm talking about the garbage man. We're not going to work. The men that's flying the planes. We're not going to work. Doctors, we're going to see the critical patients only. You see what I'm saying? We won't lose life, but we won't be just coming to work like what you think. We are going to stand up for men and our right to be a father in this country, to show the contribution that we bring. So, because I promise you, if men decide that we're not doing anything, we're just going on strike, we're going to show the United States of America how important we are, how valuable we are, and we need to be respected. I'm telling you, it wouldn't take us no longer than about a week before the government then hurry up and met together and then signed all type of documents for it to be federal. You understand? No longer will we attack the family, but we're going to give fathers their sons, and they will speak about all of the knowledge that the medical and mental field have already given them on the benefits of fatherhood and why this should be done for the good of society. But we have to be willing to strike that first match, men. We have to be willing to stand up and say, you know what? This is the civil rights issue of our time. No more you're going to sit here and keep making us the butt of the joke, the heel of everything, while we're responsible for everything. We're done. We're done. We're sitting on it too. You understand me? We're on strike. We're not going to work. We're not doing anything until it is established that men get first right of fatherhood when it comes to the male children, and in some cases, the female children as well. I truly, truly believe that if we had a society where the men were responsible for raising their sons, we would have a society where if an old lady was coming up on the corner and there were 5 young men on the corner, by the time she got there, they would have part a path and say, "Good evening, ma'am," and allow her to walk on. If she needed help crossing the street, they would help her cross the street, because that's the type of discipline and honor that men sow in boys, especially with fathers sow into their sons. Now, you see what coaches instill in their players. So you understand the fatherhood, the bond that goes on between men. The enemy don't want that. Okay? They don't want that, because then they can't keep generating the type of wealth that they generate for themselves. All right? You looking at it like it's just your baby. They looking at how much money they can make off your baby back. So they devised a plan to remove the person who would prevent them from being able to do what they want to do, the father, out of the picture. Okay? And then you saying you love this child, then you should be able to look at the end result of what happened to children before them that grew up in the situation that you got your child in and say no and give the child to the father. Okay? We have to boycott, men. We have to stand up. All life originates in the male testicles. We are the seed bearers. How do we continue to allow these people to monopolize and take our seed from us? Not only that, they have us living in unsafe society. I saw a story on the news the other day where 3 12-year-old little girls chased down a 62-year-old man down an alley. And the 62-year-old man had just recovered from cancer, a bout of cancer. They knocked him down and stumped him in his head to death. Now, the state that they're in is saying that they don't try minors under 15 as an adult. This is what happens, fathers, when we allow the government to sow the type of fear in us that they have sown, that is automatically understood now that the children belong to the female. That is not true. That's what they want. According to my Father Jehovah's will, he wants you and I to be responsible for our seed. He wants you and I to raise them in a home where they have love, respect, and fear for him. He wants them raised in a home where they see us worshiping him and doing things in an upright manner. He don't want our sons being raised in a home where they looking up to the mother and trying to figure out how to do things according to how the mother do things. This is what the enemy wants for our seed. Please, just understand that we have to organize a national boycott. And if we're not giving first right of fatherhood, we're saying, you know what? We don't want to play anymore. If we're not good enough to be the father to our sons, then we're not going to deal with it, because we need to dismantle this whole system. We need a redress to our government, okay? And we need all the foolishness to stop. It needs to be like, all life originates where? Okay? It originates between a man's legs. The lady is nothing but an incubator. Okay? So we cannot take the person that is designed to provide and protect and make that person just provision, and give the person who's supposed to be provided for and protected for, give them the children. And then the Creator says that we are the head of family, but nasty men have come up with a way for women to be the head of the household. This is an abomination. This is the civil rights issue of our time. This is the fix for everything. Let me tell you something. If fathers are given their children, teenage suicide rates will plummet in this country. Teenage pregnancy will plummet in this country. Teenage violence will plummet in this country. Mental health will get so much better in this country. Okay? Morality, a good moral society will really grow, and we will achieve the things that we're after if we use the father as he was intended to be used, and use the mother as she was intended to be used. Let's stop all this overvalue of the mother with this false pretense, and then you have to make all of these systems to stand her up to justify it, okay? When you know if you're giving the children to the father, food stamps, welfare, child support, all of this stuff, it has no place in society. It will have to move to the 55 and up community, because men, we won't need no government assistance. There ain't gonna be some men, them low budget men, we're not perfect, okay? It's gonna be some fellas out here lazy, nasty, you know, just like it's some ladies out here lazy, nasty. Well, women, not ladies, lazy, nasty. I'm not saying all men are perfect, but I am saying that it's time to take the clutch players off the bench, and the men are the clutch players. It's time to win the game. If we're gonna win the game, we gotta put men in the game. Okay? In the game of what? Of parenthood. Full time, full roles. No more of this poppycock about a man being working 60, 70 hours a week, always away from his family. No, we need to start pushing the value of father working 8 hours, coming home and instilling the values and the things that he have with his family. Father being able to spend time and give to his family what it is he needs for them to move on to the next generation. We need to make government start to work to help families build generational wealth, instead of stealing the generational wealth from the families the way they have designed this system to do. Excuse me. We have to just get back to the basics and stop being so motherfucking smart. You understand me? Okay, because we are not smart. We are dumb. We are supposed to be doing his will. When you say your prayers all the time, you say his will be done. Why? Because that is the only power you have been given. Exercise it. Okay? That means be the head of the household. Listen, check this out. There was this great injustice that happened called slavery. So you had this group of white people called themselves Quakers. And they just couldn't hold to the fact that one man could own another man. So they sold everything that they had in America. And they bought as many slaves as they possibly could. And they freed them. And then after they did that, let me point something out to you. If black people were slaves, they did not own no fucking homes. So the Underground Railroad was homes that people owned where they hid slaves. Who the fuck was the only people owning homes in America during slavery? These folks. So these folks created a network where they could steal slaves and then bring them to freedom, because there has always been people here trying to stand for what this country said it was for. Okay? For all. I mean all Americans, not all citizens of the world. Okay? So now, these people create an underground railroad where they eventually train other black people that they help escape to freedom. Okay? And then these people cause such a ruckus that white folks wind up fighting white folks over the issue of, is it wrong or right for a man to own another man? Right? So the issue came to a head in a fight to prevent succession, to prevent a breakup of the country. Now let me get something straight with you. Slaves were not petitioning the government to prevent the expansion of slavery. Slaves did not have no say-so to make an argument in the legislation and all these other places and get the stories in the newspapers to really draw attention to the situation and all that. It was white folks. Okay? So now, the issue comes to the point to where it gets to a fight. It breaks out into this thing called the Civil War. The Civil War ended, And in 1867, black men were given the right to vote. Black men were given the right to own land. And from 1867 to 1877, black men voted. They went from being former slaves to being in political office, to owning land, to owning homes, to owning all types of things, right? So for 10 years, something that another group of people fought for and died for us, we enjoyed. But we saw the price that had to be paid in order for us to get that. Now, these people go home, instead of us men, black men, saying, well, I'll just die. Give me liberty or give me death. And just make that the standard. We chose to knuckle under to fear and allow them to then take away from us without us even firing a shot. Okay? The thing that we saw it take almost the division of a nation to get for us, which was the right to vote, the right to be able to take care of our society like they were taking care of their society. Okay? You turn around, the white woman can't even vote yet because this is 1867. So the white woman is still up underneath the white man. The black woman is still up underneath the black man. Now, if the black man has said, in each one of these instances, I'm going to fight, I'm going to kill a couple of y'all, but I'm going to die. And had we had that standard, because all of them, the Chinese, everybody who you look at that have freedom chose that standard. When they was faced with, what are you willing to do to be respected as a people and to say this is your land and nobody can, they said we're all willing to die for it. They had to drop the bomb on Japan because they already knew the losses that we would take trying to commandeer that area would be insurmountable. You understand? So here you have a group of men that have their freedom in their hand and practicing, exercising their freedom, enjoying their freedom. And the group of men that they know took it from them sit around and come back and take it back from them. Okay? And they don't fight. They don't do nothing. And then it take another 100 years. 1965. From 1867 to 1965. Before we are comfortably voting again. Now, the white woman got her right to vote in 1920. So, from 67 to from 1867 to 1920, we had that big old head start. And then women come along and fight in the suffrage movement and stand up and have more intestinal fortitude than we do. Now we sit here and complain because we still in the same situation. We're not willing to stand up and fight and die for our honor. We're not willing to say, you know what I'm saying, boom, the buck stops right here. No foreign business in our community. If you've been locked up, don't come back around us. You understand? Start talking about education, making sure we have a standard that our children can read before the first grade, making sure our children can write before the first grade, making sure our children can understand 1, 2, and 3 letter words before the first grade. All of these are things that real men put in children's lives. Because I ain't got time for you elbow scratchers that want to put in was not a real man and then use that as an example to try to counter what I'm saying. I'm talking about people who pay the cost to be the boss and do the work, jerk. That's it. You understand? So, yes, I want to dismantle this whole system. All right? I want child support to be in a manner where it's not enforcement, but it is like encouragement. Okay? So, when the family is in a stressful manner, they are coming in as relief and relief only. And I've spoken about that in previous shows. All right? I'm going to end this show with this. You cannot teach someone to do something they think they already know. So these ladies have been doing this for so many generations and seeing this being done like this for so many generations until they don't know nothing else. They don't want nothing else. Okay? And I really think that we have to stand up as men and be accounted for and tell the truth that we are responsible for the women and children, the widows and orphans. Okay? And it's our responsibility to be raising the children. It's our responsibility to be head of household. And the only way a female should be following head of household as far as having children is because she's a widow. Listen, men, this is our problem, our burden, our issue, okay? And it's not going to get fixed overnight, all right? So until we are willing to stand up, fight, and die for this issue, until we are willing to understand that our children are worth more than anything else that we could possibly do, the government is going to continue to benefit off having someone for 30 years in a correctional facility, 40 years in a correctional facility. You have to understand that's 4 generations. 4 generations of work that they are getting for free. Because we are derelict on the job. Please, men, let's come together. Let's boycott everything. Let's address this issue with the value that we have by saying this is what we bring to society, and we will not do anything to help society if we are not acknowledged as the rightful parents of our sons. Okay? So I want to thank everybody for listening. If you've been tuning in this long, my Cash App is $Gil Muse. That's capital Gill, capital Muse. Then you'll see my face pop up. You know, anything you send will be greatly appreciated because, like I say, I'm a new channel. I'm young, just starting out. Okay? So that'll just be a little bit of encouragement. So now I'm going to turn you over to my boy Dreezy, 985 Dreezy, featuring Eric Butler. And the song is entitled Welcome to Hell. And I mean, please go check it out because it's so relevant in today's world. Thank you.
Show me thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy path. Lead me in the truth and teach me. For thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. Yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.